What's up, YouTube family? This video is gonna be to help people, um, like you transition into the next evolutionary phase, in your, um, in yourself. So whether it's making your finances better or your situation entirely, or um, your your life, everything, um, you're gonna encounter reasons why you can't make it to the other on the other side, um, you know, and succeed ultimately, whether it's manifesting yourself in a better life or uh, treating some form of illness within yourself that you have built up the consciousness and awareness to know is a sickness. So once the denial isn't present, then you can actually have the awareness to be conscious of it, and then you can begin to fix it by simply just being aware of it and what it is and where it's coming from, which is yourself entirely, and the different thoughts in the ethereal realm that influence you to take action on a negative or a positive outcome. So obviously you want to choose love over fear, obviously you want to choose positive over negative, but what it comes down to is you having the necessary curiosity almost, and intrigue of who you are. This is why animals look at humans like they don't necessarily uh know why you don't see them as yourself. Oftentimes animals will look in your eyes and try to send you a message almost, or a form of uh self-realization, to build like a relationship almost, to mutually coexist and thrive, and have a harmonious sympathetic no yes sympathy, empathy, empathetic, sympathetic, and what's the opposite word for parasitic, where it's actually symbiotic, where it's symbiotic, you know the vulnerability of you sharing who you are without having to give away um your peace or anything you value. You should never sacrifice what you love for what you want. You should never kill yourself to try to attain enlightenment. You should never harm or hurt another to get ahead. So same way, an animal would try to build a relationship with a human, trying to understand why certain humans don't see that the animals are extensions of themselves, and they are themselves, just like they are of God. And just kind of that, an animal becoming a human, and then a human becoming an alien, and then an alien becoming God. is that kind of like linear evolutionary phase that not most will even think about or care about or even value until they're put in certain situations where they start to realize what things actually are. And you know, when help is there, when you have help, when you have options, when you have just anything, that's light. You know, this right here, science made this. You know, the food that you love eating, science made that. You know, so science is the study of reality. So the way this hair on the top of my head has formed, you know, even the algorithm of my soul blueprint, even, you know, the skin I have and the body and everything, and it's still flesh and blood just like animals, and it still has a beating heart just like animals. So what else other are you than an animal? You've got the same organs and blood as well, and flesh. So, you know, essentially, people get kind of lost in the evolutionary process, and they start to fall and descend into lower and lower places until ultimately people will have to learn that evolution is the only way, love is the only way, light is the only way. um you know, moving forward, positivity is the only way out of the negativity, out of the fear, out of the evil, out of the hate. You understand? um you know, peace instead of chaos, order instead of violence. So uh you know, obviously everybody wants the same things and we all value those things, you know. But predatory nature's survival of the fittest, you know, it might get you to certain results in your own life because you've been around others that have, you know, study yourself, study others, and then, you know, succeed, right? And it might get you ahead, and you might have all the prestige, status, um, and whatever you want, just by simply being a predator and feeding off other life forms that are sentient, meaning they have a subjective experience and you have a subjective experience of yourself. You have self-awareness. That's why you can look in the mirror and see someone same way an animal can. um you know, so just understanding that will allow you to create peace, positivity, order, light, love out of the shadow realm, out of the darkness, you know, because it's a lot. It's a lot that it takes to evolve out of that, you know, because you think you're a human, you think you're in this body or whatever. All of a sudden, you got all of these gifts and external supernatural abilities and all these things, and in power, even, you know, it gets to your head, and then next thing you know, it just gets worse and worse, and you start to realize how much of a horrible experience that some of these things can be in life. But it can be good, you know. Life on earth as a human can be very good, and in fact, you know, having a sort of mindset where you can try to figure out why some people experience certain things, whether you could say people don't deserve evil, but karma ultimately may beg to differ as a universal law, of what the Matrix is built off of. So, you know, it could be that certain, you know, laws in the spiritual are in place where karma is in effect, and if what you send out always comes back to you, what you put out always comes back to you. If that's the actual truth, then you know, we're wasting time trying to figure out how to build and move things forward and make things better, because that's just pulling you into a place where ultimately you have to kind of worry about everything that you may have done when you were unconscious or unaware. It's a very complicated thing. But ultimately, what I understand is that animals are the way they are, insects are the way they are, because it's like an entirety. The consciousness and the awareness of an entirety is what you're developing, what you're working towards. That's called omniscience. That's what you call God. Omniscient. Everywhere, at all times, all knowing, everything, right? All powerful, whatever. So, if you're hung up on the things you got going on, you probably manifested them and deserved that goodness to an extent, but and you're grateful for that and you enjoy it, but at the same time you got to realize that these things, there's always going to be a guide, there's always going to be someone to help you, there's always going to be like help, because you are what you attract. If you help someone, you're going to be helped. If you're the type of person who genuinely is like good and you do good, then generally you can expect good, and that expectation may not be backed up by result. So in order to make sure the result is inevitably going to fall in place necessarily or even be there, nothing's just gonna automatically align in every which way you want it to. You're gonna have to do a lot. To think about it this way: what if I was just a YouTuber? What if I just made YouTube videos? What if I did nothing else with my life, with myself? You know what I mean? What if I just played video games? Or what if I just drew all day and then I was a famous artist or something, or or music or whatever? That's relatable to a small degree of people. In the overall universe and reality. And necessarily when you encounter certain things that are there, people, places, things that are there to guide you and help you, then you can ultimately use this to your benefit, as you're here to help others, because that's love. Love is empathy, compassion. Love is knowing. Love is understanding. Love is caring. Love is unity. You're not separate from that animal in that slaughterhouse suffering right now. So what are you doing to try to understand why those animals may be deserving to go into the slaughterhouse and get killed and violently be tortured, exploited, used, abused, and discarded. their souls discarded, essentially. It's a horrible, horrible way to go out, a horrible way to experience. Not very pleasant. It's painful, it's suffering, it's horrible, it's misery, it's fear, it's pain, So, just observing the wild in nature and seeing how predators eat other animals alive, you may get a sort of kick out of that. You may feel a sort of, hey, I'm the apex and alpha, and I'm allowed to inflict my will onto this other being because looking how mighty I am that I can do this. I'm allowed to. And essentially, you did it to yourself because you may have to experience that because you took part in the energy. If a predator in the wild eats another animal alive or just kills another animal, it's sharing the energy. It's experiencing what that animal is experiencing energetically, spiritually, and it has to be born into a subjective sentient experience that it is into. If it's into eating and killing others, then that's what will happen to itself. It will be killed and eaten because that's the reality that being lives in. And to a certain extent, maybe that animal that's getting killed and eaten, to a certain extent, is playing into that same reality in one way or another. Maybe it's unconsciousness or unawareness. Maybe it's the prey of the predator was somehow in alignment, resonating in the same energetic vibrational frequency to be killed and eaten, because ultimately that's what it does. You are what you attract. So if you're killing and eating others, then you can expect to be killed and eaten. Because you're unconscious and you're unaware. And you have to take accountability and responsibility to try to build up your consciousness and awareness. Because that's how you got into the body that you're in. And if you want a better body or a better world or a better outcome, then you're gonna have to make things better for everyone, for anyone. Do you get it? You know what I mean? If somebody's sick, help heal them. If somebody's hurt, nurture them. If somebody's someone, even, because you can talk to spirits, they might not even be in bodies, and you think you're talking to yourself, and you're hearing voices, and there's different parts of you, but so it might be different spirits in the spirit realm, and ancestors, passed on, loved ones, friends and family. Could be somewhere in your lineage that you manifested and been born into, bloodline wise, that you resonate with. And certain spirits are just like more attracted to you than others. So it's kind of like, if the light, the sunlight, ether, it's kind of like light, it's kind of like fire. There's no animals there, there's no humans there, there's no aliens there. It's light. it's plasma. It bends and shapes and forms all the ways it could be. It's different, So that kind of planet, that you can argue and say a lot of things. You say, oh, the spirits on Mars, and you can't see them, but they're there. Those plants right there that you're killing and eating, those are spirits, and you just can't see them and eat. Okay, okay. So what? Even if we are spirits, and we're spirits in these bodies, let's say, right? Even if that's the case, and on the sun, there's spirits as well. Obviously, there's no hearts in fire because it's made up of matter, flesh, blood, water, earth, essentially. Which flesh is not rock, but it turns into dirt. And when it withers and it rots away, it becomes the dirt. So the body essentially is made up of earth and water and all the elements. And oxygen, of course. I mean, there has to be oxygen in cells, obviously. I mean, so it must be all the elements, air and fire. So perhaps it may be an elemental thing. We evolved out of the water as fishes onto the dry land as animals, and then into the ethereal as spirits. And then last but not least, birds. We could move around, we could fly, we could dance, we could just like, it was like amazing. And then now we're human. Now we're in these bodies. Because humans are aliens, right? They're species. They're a extraterrestrial species to a different planet, right? So, and seeing the state and conditions of what humans have done on Earth, and the violence and the horrible things have been done. I mean, there's also been a lot of beauty. So that's why it's important to question the things that's actually happening and occurring in history, throughout history, in the present moment, and most likely you can psychically predict a lot of things that's gonna happen in the future as well, based upon those insights, and you can understand, and with understanding, you can have that evolutionary process of getting out of, so in other words, ether necessarily isn't a something. Wouldn't even make sense. So I guess what we're doing is we're in the final quarter of the fire element, and we're looking back at all the natures we just evolved out of, and we're in this final fifth dimensional root race avatar, human form, a fire, and we're trying to figure out how we can get out of this animal, because this is an animal, obviously. This avatar, this form, and if you can't even understand what I just said, you're literally falling. You're falling. You don't get it. You think I'm like some delusional. Some people might think I'm some delusional person, or I'm not making sense, or I'm lost, or I'm worried about the wrong things, and but at the end of the day, people who actually have a need for help, this is gonna help them. This is gonna give them kind of like the essentially, like, the brainstorming. It's gonna give them ideas. It's gonna connect different brain synapses together where it wasn't connected before, and they're gonna enjoy just being around, my words, my thoughts, my feelings, my energy, and everything, because it's going to ultimately propel them forward, and it's going to propel me forward, because like law of karma, give and exchange, it always has to come back to me as reciprocity. So if you want a better life, if you want a better future, if you want a better world, if you want to see good things and no bad things, if you want to see positive and no negative, if you want to see love and no fear, if you want to see, compassion instead of hate, all of these things, you're gonna have to choose. You have to choose love, and ultimately, you're gonna have to choose love for yourself. Okay, because you are everyone. You are those animals. You are you are everything and everyone, which is what God is, because you are an extension of God. So that idea in itself of what God and religion and spirituality, it's all interconnected, but you don't see yourself as connected. So you think God is something separate, something to pray to and be subservient to, and blind worship. And next thing you know, you encounter different evil gods and you worship them, and then you basically sell your soul to them, and you sacrifice the people you love and things you love and the places you love, and then next thing you know, you're left with everything you don't love, and you feel miserable, and it sucks. So I would highly recommend you keep this mindset of evolution, of growth, because people that are not doing that, they say things like plants are people, because that's what they actually believe. They really have thoughts like there's a spirit, there's a soul in that kale, in that potato, in that carrot. There's a soul in there. There's a person, like, intuitively speaking and scientifically speaking, it's not true. Because intuition is, you looking at yourself and allowing the answers to come to you. Science is testing, is experimenting, inflicting your will almost onto the external, outside, other, and deriving the truth and the final conclusions and the results thereafter, which is science. That's what it's proof. It's the science is the burden of the proof. Because the proof is intuition. You could say, "Oh, my intuition is I killed that animal with respect," but you're missing intuition. Your intuition is whole, not part or fragmented, illusionary, illusionary. No, it's whole. That's why you can have the forever growth and expansion of who you are, and by helping others do that, as you helping yourself, by helping planets, by helping worlds, by helping universes, by helping gods and goddesses, by helping all of the different entities, spirits, beings in yourself, you can understand more. So we're trying to understand the reality and what it is. What are plants? What are animals? Who are we? What are we? What are aliens? What's going on? Why are we here? What is all this? So this kind of attitude of gratitude, of curiosity, of exploration, of wonder, of excitement, of fear almost. Like, whoa, like this is kind of intense. Like, obviously look at all the evil that's happening. You got a good reason to be afraid. I mean, so, it makes sense because we're all connected, and then the different ideas and the different perspectives we all have, and the things we're going through in our life, we're trying to help ourselves and help each other. And that's what we all want anyways. So the first step is to realize we are animals. We're eating and hurting ourselves. And we're at the final animalistic nature as humans. So to do all this crazy, wicked, evil shit as a species doesn't even make sense after a while. But that's speciesism. You look at your own species and you get killed by your own kind, you get eaten by your own kind, you get disrespected and all this crazy shit by your own kind. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing. It's separation. It's separatism. No dogmatism. Different religions, different classes, creed, prestige. Like it's all wrong. Sexism. It's no longer yin and yang, and we're all unified and unisex, and we're the same, and we're just, it's crazy, man. It's the consciousness is so low. That's and then when somebody comes in with this kind of consciousness, most will fall. They'll say to themselves a lie, and then convince themselves out of the evolution and ascension, and ultimately throw themselves into hell and make themselves suffer. And it sucks, and it's really sad because people like us, we feel for that, and we were the ones that ain't fell for that. We feel for that. We feel for the ones who fell into hell, essentially. But so that's why we have to be light, to offer to offer guidance, support, help, all of the things everybody wants, you yourself want. Happiness, offer love, offer peace, offer joy, offer different offer positivity, offer anything anyone needs, and we can all, if we all do that, then that's heaven, and that's unity, and that's ultimately consciousness realizing itself that we're all one. And anything we do to anyone or anything, that's us. Anything, with a soul, a tree, you might not want to chop one down because obviously they give us oxygen, and there's more to know where oxygen actually comes from than just plants, obviously, but still trees do that. And deforestation is only happening because of animal farming and slaughterhouses and killing animals and eating them. So, and the only reason you're killing them, the only reason you're doing all that evil, horrific violence to them is because you want to eat their bodies. And it's disgusting, to say the least. Could you imagine killing your own brother, your sister, your mother, your father, or a relative, or your best friend, and making a sacrificing who you love just to eat their body or brains as a zombie or something? Do y'all get it? Do y'all see how evil and disgusting it is? So I'll leave the video there, because if you can get to that point, then you can help yourself and help me change ourselves in the world collectively, and ultimately make a better reality for everyone and everything. But it should have never been like that to begin with, right? So it's like, what's the point of even helping? It already happened. You know what I mean? And maybe to an extent, those beings were deserving. So what are you really going to do? Try to change the world? I mean, the world is changing anyways. Maybe spiritually speaking, those animals need to evolve out of being born into animals and slaughterhouses or in the wild to be preyed on by predators. And if they can do that, then, they will find solace in God and essentially themselves as omniscience, because they are God, and they will come to this consciousness and realization and awareness, and they will be protected and provided for and cared for, and everything could, even animals. This is why people have pets. This is why people have sanctuaries and harmonious relationship with animals. Like I said, because some make it, and most may not even deserve it. But the fact of the matter is, it was still allowed to happen, and the trillions of lives already lost and being lost right now as we very second we speak. Of people, animals, and everything. Like really, there's no separation. It might not be happening to the same level. But do you see aliens coming down from other planets and feeding off of us humans? No. But the fact of the matter is, it's a higher mind, and unless you grow beyond that, you're really just going to be subject to be enslaved by some aliens to make you fall into lower and lower, all the way till you're experiencing being a slaughterhouse animal, or a prey animal for a predator in nature. So let's try to understand what's happening together collectively, and that is the first door to consciousness, understanding, and that breeds room for new germination to come in the higher realms. Not just reproduction in the lower realms and getting caught up in your animalistic natures and desires and all these things. Ultimately, is using these things for the betterment of yourself, of consciousness and awareness, of peace, love, happiness, and positivity, spreading that and making that but ultimately it's you. It's your reality. It's your realm that you're going into, and you're the one creating your life. So for anyone who wants that, you can become the light and the guide for them. Because if somebody wants to help themselves, if somebody wants to become better and change and grow and heal and all these things, they will seek out that. And you will be that for them in that moment. Space and time, or out of it. You know what I mean? So ultimately, just understand that, having true self-love and true self-faith, and really just not even, because when I say those things, right, what I really mean is others, because you are them. That's the whole video right there. That's the whole purpose of this video right here. And you can I'll leave it right there. You are others, and build on that consciousness and awareness, and offer me some insights and awareness perspective. Post the video, send it my way, link it in the comments. I'll watch it, and this is how this works. So if you're struggling with finances and having, security and love in your life and peace and all abundance, happiness, success, opulence, joy, all this, everything you love, then just know that you'll get it. Because you gotta want it, and you will, and you work for it, right? You work for yourself, But what you've been programmed and conditioned to believe: work is slavery. Work is doing things you don't like doing, and work is, it's not what that is. So, at all, by the way, at all, completely different reality, far away from slavery and nothing to you could still work a job and be whatever, and still have all of these implemented, because ultimately what you're doing is experimenting, playing, and finding the balance between reality, but between the duality and trying to build something out of that. So, you're just doing the best with what you're working with, and that's what animals, people, aliens, we're all doing. But it makes you feel like you're alone. So, but when more people uh started to step up, that's when things started gradually shifting on Earth. But like I said, it's all spirit souls being born into wherever, just like I am in this body making this video right now for you, and you watching this, and maybe you're, whatever, your neighbor's dog or something, all that. So, wonder right there. I just hope you get the message. So, pretty much, yeah.